Good evening, Brownsville, AOBE members, educators. This is Veronica Borrego, AOBE president. And right next to me, I have Miss Ida. Hello, Miss Ida.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back. So glad that we're finally back here,
Yes,
getting to do a show.
it's been a little bit crazy.
Yeah, they have. And then we had a little bit of technical difficulties getting going, but we
And
finally
my,
got it going.
yes, and my
Thank God.
picture's still kind of bad, but I'm
Yeah,
sure.
hopefully we won't freeze up too much. I don't know, but I think everybody's used to by now having technical difficulties with everything going on. I know.
It's raining over here, so the weather's not.
Yeah, I think that that's what's not helping at all. Over here, it's been also, as some of y'all know, I'm in the Westlaco area. We've been also getting kind of a little bit of rain. We've been having a lot of phone companies having issues. So there's been a lot of issues with AT&T, with T-Mobile, different things like that. So, but let's go ahead and get going on some of the topics, some of our hot topics. We hope everybody's doing well. We won't spend a lot of time on how we're doing, because then we'll be here all night.
We'll be here forever.
Yeah, talking
Forever.
about all these different things that are going
Yeah.
on. But this week we did have the district had a safety and security committee meeting on Tuesday, and that was a little interesting. They didn't get to do a lot in open session because, for security reasons, of course, they were going to go over some of the safety audits that were done, and they were going to discuss them in executive session. We were the only association that spoke up, and what we spoke up about was the staff shortages that are going on, and the issues and concerns that is it's putting on everybody else, and asking the district to get creative, to think outside the box as to what ways they can recruit some staff, especially security and police officers. There's a lot of campuses that are in dire need of additional staff, and even office staff. They have a lot of vacancies. So I don't know what they have to do, but they really have to either think about signing bonuses, whatever it is that they need to do to recruit, because it's taking its toll on a lot of staff, and everybody already has their plate full as it is. But that's one of the topics that I wanted to talk about and see how people felt. What are they dealing with? What issues are you having or extra workload that y'all are having to carry because of staff shortages? I mean, I know I've heard a few people that have shared with me what they're going through, but Vero, is that something that some of your colleagues have shared with you, or you're experiencing since you're out there at the campuses?
Yeah, there's a shortage of staff. People are having to pick up the slack for others. Um, it's been expressed through a lot of members. We've gotten a lot of calls from members that are struggling because of the shortage of staff, and it's kind of like people are like grasping at straws, right? Because they're trying to figure out how to get things done within the time we have during the day to be clocked in without being, well, like us that we're salary, it's different, right? But for those that are hourly, that are working the position of 2 or 3 people, and they're still expected to get it done within a time frame without going overtime, is kind of hard for them, and it's a big stress.
Definitely. I've even had, and it goes back to, and I understand, and we're not being negative here. And I understand that there's staff shortages everywhere,
Yeah.
but we can't fix it across the nation. We can definitely see what we can do at the local level and see
Yeah.
what we can do in the Brownsville area, and things that are within our control. So that's why I'm saying that, administration and current board need to really step up, because here we are, the end of October, and again, we have some more resignations that are coming in, people leaving, people saying that's it, I can't uh, take it anymore, this is too much. And so we really need to step up, as a district and say, okay, you know what, our employees are really crying out and need some help. We need to find ways, we need to get creative and find ways to fill these vacancies. And a well-paying position is something that helps to be able to fill those slots, because a lot of people out there, everybody's got bills to pay, so they're going to go with what helps them a little bit more, and what helps them to be able to pay a little bit more bills. So so we have a comment here.
We are
Oh, I
three
live on
technicians
this.
short at FNS. We need help.
Yeah. And we're seeing it everywhere, where teachers are having to sweep and mop because of the shortages. They're having to split rooms because we don't have subs. Again, it goes back to, we're not paying enough. We're not paying enough. So if a substitute is, has the choice of going to sub at a charter school with a less classroom ratio, or sub here that and make less, I mean, come on, that sub has a lot of bills. They're going to go where it's
Where the money
uh
is.
where it's going to pay a little bit more,
Yeah.
and that's what we need to do. We need to look at that, and I think that that's something that people need to look into. And hopefully, some people can share with us. We have our email address here at the bottom of the screen. We want to hear what you guys are experiencing. It's
Yeah.
very important. We're very proud of how we're member driven, and we address issues and concerns that are brought to us from our members. So, please, if you're a member, please call our office, or send us an email with the issues that you're experiencing. We don't disclose your information unless we have your permission to do that. Other than that, it's all confidential.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know if you want to share anything else. Sorry, I tend to take over the mic.
Yes.
It's been too long.
We have just a few comments. People are still logging in. Mr. Elizondo. Hello, Mr. Elizondo, one of our endorsed candidates.
Oh, yes, Mr. Elizondo. We're going to talk a
And
little bit about
Ram
that.
39. Hello, ladies. Hello. Lupita 2. Good evening, ladies. We saw that, the technicians, and then right here, nobody applying because of pay issues.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I've heard that a lot. I've heard people are not applying. They can't find people to interview for some of these positions, and it's really sad.
Yeah.
But that is something that we're definitely going to address. And, we're addressing it with the endorsed candidates on some of the things that they're going to have to look into, because we can't continue to survive with people leaving the district like this. And sooner or later, it's going to hit a crashing point. And that's what we need to try to avoid. But we do have a full show today. We have several guest speakers that are going to be dropping in. As some of y'all know, it's early voting time. And do you want to read that comment, Vettel?
Yes, hello from Miss Nelda. Hi, Miss Nelda. All they do is put up a front. The buddy meet was just a photo op. Where does little ones were where little ones were used as props for photo ops, but disrespected by being rushed out 2 hours early once top administration got the fake picture they wanted. One school got yelled at because their arrival was delayed. They were berated and humiliated. The meet was scheduled to end until 2 p.m., but the sped children were rushed and kicked out. It's microaggressions and humiliations like this that continue to push.
I think
Wow.
to push people to leave, maybe. I think that's what she's talking about. And I think what she means, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is talking about how people are, they use them for photo ops and then, then go ahead and it's just a photo op and then they just move on and it's just creating that image, and they don't realize what it does to those people that you're rushing to put into place to take this perfect photo and make that image appear. I think that's what Lupita too is talking about.
Miss Nelda, is it possible that so much money goes to the top four spots, leaving shortage for stipend increases?
Well, I mean, it's possible that it's leaving a shortage for many areas. There's obviously a lot of different things that it could go to. Not just stipends, but it's about having a balanced budget. And am I having a delay?
I don't know if it's me or you, but am
I
I
think
slow on your screen?
no, you're not. I see myself slow,
Okay,
which is
I see you a little bit slow. I don't mean that in an offensive way.
para acabarla. Híjole.
I don't know if the internet is just kind of
I tell you,
it's
and
a little, it's a little weird right now.
yeah, I've closed as many things as I can close on this screen on this computer. So I don't know what else I can do, but hopefully it gets a little bit better.
Yeah.
Um, but anyway, we do have different guests that are going to be coming in. Guys, it's early voting time, and as y'all are probably aware, we have 2 weeks of early voting. It's very important to get out there. Our candidates at the local level were selected by our membership. They were at a forum for 2 days, 2.5 hours each day. That forum, you can find it on our website, on our Facebook, and that's how we came to the endorsed candidates at the local level. Then we have our endorsed candidates at the state level at TSTA. Those are vetted by the PAC committee at the state level. It goes through a very long process of it, and the committee votes and vets the candidates to make sure that they are committed and if they are already incumbents, they make sure that they have a proven track record of being pro public education.
Yeah.
I cannot say it enough how important it is for public education right now. We're in dire need of every single elected official that is pro public education to be in office. And it's not so much, that we're saying, oh, there should be no charter schools. We're not saying that. We're saying we need a leveled playing field. We're saying we need that support, that we all play by the same rules here. And that's why if you go to our website or our Facebook, you'll see the endorsed candidates at the local and state level that show that they are going to be in support of public education. If you work in a public school district or if you work in Brownsville ISD, it is important. It is important that you support people that are pro public education, because if not, sooner or later, if we continue to go down this path and we continue to get hits and cuts in funding, it's going to eventually reach a crashing point, and eventually there's going to be layoffs, because the school districts cannot continue if we do not get that proper support. So that's why I'm asking you guys to, I know people are tired of hearing about different campaigns. That's all you see on TV. That's all you see or you hear on the radio and stuff. But it's to a point that we have no choice. We have to pick people if we're for public education and if we're working in the public education system. We have to choose those candidates that are going to support it. And it's very important that we go out and do that and vote for those people. So
Another comment, Dr. Trevino and her team going to schools to intimidate and trying to justify their overpaid position. Miss Lupita, sorry for the typos, but yes, thank you for understanding, Miss Ida. They're more concerned with optics than actually giving the kids a positive experience. They parade them around for pictures to make the district look supportive of SPED kids, then rush them away once the pictures were accomplished.
yeah, we see that all the time, and they think that it's not transparent in the photos. It is, and that's really sad to do that. People can see through the fakeness of things like that, and it's really sad when they do that and they're not taken into consideration. What it does to the kids.
Yeah.
Those kids see that. They know, you're playing with them like that, and that's just not right.
No. Hi, Miss Tanya.
So speaking of Vero, have you gone to vote?
Oh, I went the first day of early voting.
Good job. And have you
Also Pink Day.
what's Pink Day?
Pink Day. What's Pink Day, Anna? I went to go vote on Monday. On Monday was my father's 9-year anniversary of his passing. And so I, of course, went and voted in his honor because he was very big with making our voices heard and voting. And so I voted for my daddy.
Oh, good job.
Yeah. It was a tough day, but my mom and I were there holding up the candidate signs at the library because that's where my dad would have been.
For sure.
So we were there.
Well, that's good. I'm glad that you did that, and you're making your dad proud and doing your part, and not staying silent.
Nope. And I've been checking the list to see, and I have family members that have already voted, and friends and coworkers that have already gone to vote. So I'm checking the list every day to make sure that people who have promised me they were going to be voting are actually voting.
Awesome.
Yeah. Let me read.
Go ahead.
Anna, let me see. It's just this disrespectful treatment of kids and their teachers that discourage and demoralize kids and teachers. The district will keep losing quality people with this hypocrisy. Very true. Miss Lupita, I voted for all 3 AOBE endorsed candidates. Yes, ma'am. Make sure that you go out and vote, that you take people with you to vote. Don't just go by yourself. Take your family, take your friends, take your children if they're old enough, take your nieces, nephews, cousins, whoever you can take them to vote.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank
Anna,
you.
thank you for voting, Miss Anna.
So we are going to have some special guests, in a little bit. Um,
Miss
some
Lupita
we're
took her mom. Thank you, Miss Lupita.
Good job, Lupita. Now we want you to make a list, Lupita, and make a list of 20 people. I'm sorry. It's great that you've taken your
Just nine.
mom.
Now she just needs 19 because she already took her mom.
Yeah, yeah. So you get 19 more people that you're going to get and take them to go vote, hopefully within early voting. But if not, we also have election day. But for reals, you do need to make that list. It's that important. Public education and our school district is, in dire need of elected officials that really are going to try to do something and not be bought by companies or anything like that. So yes, please do that and make sure and follow up that they are. You don't have to take them yourself, but you do have to follow up because some of us tend to put it off. And tomorrow, I'll go tomorrow, and before you know it, I mean, look, we're already tomorrow's already going to be Friday, so it's going to be 1 week down of early voting.
Yep.
And if we don't do our part, then guys, we're going to have to sit back and reap those consequences of not taking action and doing our part. And we don't want to sound like a broken record, we don't want to be negative. We're just relaying to you what people are telling us, what our members call us about, okay, what we are fighting for. And that's basically what we're doing. So but we hope that you do follow through on that.
Yep.
One of the things, another quick one before we get to our special guest that we're going to have. And I will say our special guests are going to be our three endorsed candidates, which is Mr. Victor Caballero, Mr. Carlos Elizondo, and Mr. Frank Ortiz. They will be joining us in a couple of minutes. And we're basically just going to give them an opportunity to talk a little bit about their platform and what they plan to do for BISD. You also will have the opportunity to ask any questions. Whatever it is that's on your mind, this is your opportunity to ask them in regards to what are their plans of being a school board member here at BISD. So we hope, let your colleagues know, let anybody who is maybe still uncertain on which route they're going to go on this election, and let them know that they're going to be on the show here, all three of them. And it's your opportunity to ask the questions, and it's your opportunity to get to know them. They also have their social media pages that you can follow and see what it is that they stand for, what their priorities are, what their platform is. But it's your opportunity also to hear what they have to say. We get to hear how it's going out there in the campaign camps for them. I admire how professional they're keeping everything. I have a tremendous amount of respect for them. They've been very, very professional, very by the book, and I really like that. When people take the high road, they know what they're there for. They don't get into the name calling or things like that. That sometimes can happen at campaign camps. So that's very good. I really do like the professionalism that they have been displaying.
Yep.
So but before we do get them on, we do want to encourage people to go to the website, our website, and our Facebook, because we have some links on the student loan forgiveness program. Okay. It's a great program that we need to take advantage of. It's there to help a lot of people that are in need of some student loan relief. And please let your friends know, let your colleagues know, or any educator that has some student loan debt. Please let them know that they can get on, go to our website, and it'll help them. It has the links. It's a very easy process. It is a very easy process to do. A lot of people are used to how it used to be. It was a very long and tedious process, but it's gotten a whole lot easier. So we hope you're able to, if you need some help with that, you're hopefully that the links that we have on our website and our social media can help you with that. Have you checked that out, Vero?
I was trying to do that right now so that I could post it, but I can't see it.
Or I don't know if you can bring it up
I'm like, but
through.
I don't want to go too much into other stuff because I don't want to.
Okay, well, they can go to the Facebook or the website, and they can check it out and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I can go to our website, but hold on. I just don't want it to kick me out.
No, yeah, no, because I don't want to.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
I don't want
upload
to
it.
risk losing anyone on this. But
Miss Lupita says she will keep pushing folks to go out and vote.
thank you so much, Lupita. We appreciate that. We appreciate that.
Yes.
Make
And
sure that you check out all the other candidates that are at the state and local level, uh, especially the state level, because we need some friendly public education people in there. Go for it. Read that one.
Miss Ana Delia Leal Castillo. Buenas noches, damas hermosas. Gracias por seguir luchando por los derechos de los trabajadores de BISD.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to be able to serve you guys
Yes, thank you.
and fight for you. Muchas gracias por la oportunidad.
De
Eh,
servir. Good job, Ida.
I know. Que sepa. So, oh, here's Mr. Cisneros.
He had a question earlier in when
In
I
the
was waiting
messages I
for my,
saw,
yeah,
I saw that.
that was a question for you or me.
Yeah, I think it was for you.
No. He's and now this question.
Where's the wheel? Let's be glad we were able to get on. We're
I
having so
know
much.
for real, man. It's been my Wi-Fi thing keeps popping up on the screen like it's gonna. I'm a little nervous.
I know. Hold on. Let's see. So what else is going on, Vero? What else are you dealing with?
Um, I'm dealing with just busy. Trying to get ready for PM Snapshot, which is tomorrow. Everybody knows. So make sure you send your kids to school tomorrow. Very, very important. Campuses are going to have really fun activities. The kids can dress up for tomorrow. So, yeah, make sure you send your kids tomorrow. It's a very important day for the district. And
Definitely. And maybe explain a little bit on that, what Snapshot does for a district. It is very important. I'll let you explain. I know.
So it is basically it determines funding for our district based on attendance. So we need kids to be present in school so that they can be accounted for. Their body has to be present at the campus so they can be accounted for, and then that is how we get funded. We have one guest in the waiting room, so we're not going to bring him on yet, but I can see you. We're just waiting for everybody to be ready, but I can see you there, sir.
Yes, that's what I'm checking on our
And give me
guest.
a thumbs up, sir, right? PM Snapshot is funding. Yep, that's right. So yes,
Awesome.
tomorrow is kind of a stressful day for administrators at the campus level because we're going to be calling people like crazy, making sure they bring in their kids. We don't want them absent. They need to be there when attendance is taken. So there's a lot of activities they're trying to push. This week was like almost like a spirit week, right? Or like red ribbon week. And so they had a lot of fun activities, but tomorrow is going to be one of the most fun days to kind of entice the kids to be coming to school because that's what's going to fund us for the year.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. So
it's an
please do
important day.
everything you can to send your kids. It makes a big difference.
It does.
And then, of course, you have the famous after snapshot. Your charter schools send back all those kids that they're having issues with, and they send them back to public school. So, but that's something that we're also fighting at the state level, and have we lobby that a lot. We are pushing for that,
Mm-hmm.
where they are going to change that, where the money follows the child. Um, it gets prorated. We're pushing really hard for that because after snapshot, people always see that increase of enrollment because the state already took that snapshot and they already know where the funding is going. And then after that, they don't really need to keep the bodies in class, and that's not right. So that is why, again, it goes back to voting. So voting for people who really are in support and want it to be fair for public schools and charter schools.
Yes.
So but anyway, so like we've mentioned, we have our special guest. We're very proud to say that these endorsed candidates, we went they went through the entire process of participating in a 2-day public forum that you can see online at our website. And it was 2 days, 2.5 hours each day. And then after that, we opened it up for our membership to be able to vote and decide who AOBE should endorse. We made it available for them to vote online or to vote in person. We had it for 3 days, the opportunity to vote. So after that, we verified membership on the votes, and were able to count the votes and be able to hold on. I'm trying to. Sorry, my multitasking skills are very limited. But
I can attest
anyway,
to that. I can attest to that.
yeah, yeah. And I wish y'all would see that we see a lot of stuff here in the background, and the what we call the backstage, and then the comments and all of that. So it's a little too distracting for me. But anyway, so that is how we came up with the endorsement of these three candidates. It wasn't chosen by me. It wasn't chosen by Vero. It wasn't chosen by just 3 or 5 people on a committee. We leave it to our membership, and our membership is the ones who decide. That is the beautiful thing that the system that we have here in AOBE. We don't dictate to you guys. We don't choose for you. We give you that opportunity. So we're very proud of that, and the fact that these gentlemen are living up to the title, um, and they're doing a good job. They're being very professional, and they are an open book, willing to talk about anything and regarding the school district, and they're very passionate about the position that they're running for. So I'm hoping that you guys are able to ask them questions. If you have any questions, if you have any doubts, uh, you know, as to which candidate you are choosing to support, um, please, right now is your opportunity to do that. But let's go ahead and bring them on. And I know we're having a little bit of trouble connecting I believe Mr. Elizondo is having a little bit of issues still connecting. But right now, we have Mr. Victor Caballero with us and Mr. Frank Ortiz. So thank you. Thank you for joining us. So we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to talk about, give you an opportunity. We don't have any specific questions, but we want to get right down to it. I did want to hear how it's going out there at the campsites, but we're going to get down to business as to your platform, what it is that is a priority for you, and why you what you plan to do to help BISD be a better district than what we are already looking at. And there's always room for improvement, especially right now that we see and we hear a lot of issues going on with such a high rate of employee, not just teacher, employee turnover. We have, uh, a very high number of employees leaving. And, so obviously there's an issue there. And like I mentioned earlier,
Sorry,
we
I'm
know this
messing with
is
you.
an, ya me estás mareando de tanto que le está moviendo el screen. Pero we know it's a nationwide crisis that's going on, but I mean, do you all agree that this is, we have to look at what we can do, and right now we can only work and help improve things in BISD. So with that being said, those are things that these people need to consider in administration right now, and current board members. They need to say, okay, we know it's a national crisis, but you know what? This is what we're going to do here for our people. This is what we're going to do to help retain our staff. This is what we're going to do to help recruit people, entice the positions, so they can be filled. Because right now, like I mentioned, we have some teachers mopping and sweeping. We have administrators doing that. We have people picking up the workload of two other people that the positions are vacant now, and it's just pushing people to the limits. So it's a difficult time to choose to run, but we thank you and we appreciate that you are doing that you are running. But with that, we are appreciative of that, and we want to give you an opportunity to talk about a little bit of why it is that you're choosing to run and what you plan to do as as a school board member. Okay, so we're going to start with Mr. Victor Caballero. Welcome. And what would you like to share?
Am I on?
Yes, you're on.
There you are. Okay. Good evening to everybody. Thank you, Ms. Avendaño and Ms. Borrego, for giving us this opportunity. We have, getting to the post of being a board of trustees, it's been a long road. It's still not over. If you can tell, if you can't hear me well enough, my voice is taking a beating these last 4 days, and so I hope you're able to hear me properly. Okay, am I coming out across, ladies? Okay, very good, very good. One of the major reasons that I decided to run for the board, I've been retired. This is going on my second year, and before I left, I knew I was going to run. I knew I was going to run simply because I didn't like the direction that we were heading. I worked for this administration for about a year and a half. And, too many programs were being utilized. I mean, I hear the cries when one of your members, comes out and says, these are my immediate goals. So some of the things that I think need to be brought out to our attention, and we got to work on it, is the lesson planning. That's just too much time being spent on planning. Planning is a tool that is a guide for the teacher to determine what is it that they are going to be teaching for that particular day in that particular class. The other thing is we got a plethora of programs in our schools. I can't understand why, for example, and I mentioned this on your debate timelines, is we have Imagine Math and Imagine Reading. Then you get another one called the iReady. Well, if they do the same thing, why are we using another program, which makes me believe that it's just busy work? And second of all, I've used the Imagine Reading and the Imagine Math program in our district. I was the first campus to utilize it. I used some of my campus budget as a principal, and I purchased it. Well, I used it in a different manner where you make it where people are asking you to use it as a means of keeping track. How much usage do you have? My whole purpose was to encourage more skill development. Every 6 weeks, the kids would use those programs, and naturally, the class that had the best amount of lessons done, and the percentage of lessons that they were being successful with, we would reward them every 6 weeks with a pizza party. And I
Mm-hmm.
did this for every grade level. And so parents loved it when I recognized the top 5 kiddos. It could be for the accelerated reader, the Imagine Math, the Imagine Reading. This was a motivation, and I understand now. Everybody wants this keeping track of you, of how much time you're using. Well, that's not the only program that you have. Okay, you also have the accelerated reader, as I say, and then I believe they might have brought in others that I have not been totally informed about because they just might have purchased them recently. The other thing is the staffing. Ms. Avendaño mentioned it, and I keep saying this. You are absolutely correct when I hear that you're doing double work.
Mm-hmm.
Especially there's some campuses, or there are some campuses that don't have the receptionist, the secretary, the data entry. They have other duties, and they're running rampant. I know of a school right now that doesn't have an assistant or a dean, and no receptionist. I hope they get relieved real soon. Okay. In some cases, you have teachers that might be absent, and you're asked to take kids from other classes to that way to cover that teacher who is not present. Okay. So I also don't know at this point how the administration is dealing when they do trainings during the day, and there's not enough substitutes, because we have a shortage of substitutes as well. So those are some of the 3 immediate things that I'm going to recommend, and that is the staffing, the planning, and also the amount of programs that we're doing. Because I believe you're also doing the programs where you have the administration is also dealing with. The administration is dealing with to keep track of all the student expectations. That the students are not performing well, and they're using Eduphoria, Schoology, Lead Forward, Tango. I mean, the list goes on and on. You only need one program to carry those duties, and there's no need to put all of this information on data walls. You already have that information before you. We can give the teachers access, and I know that because I had given our teachers access to those programs so that they can tell what student expectations have not been met. That's from an educational point of view. I'm very concerned right now as I move forward, and this is something that's hitting home right away. The administration has decided to keep this hush hush. I understand that this was something that had taken place where there was a an issue with money being funneled out of our district, okay, to a phony company. Well, I have to say, we need to look at that because right now, I don't know how strong our procedures are in the finance department. Okay, we have one administrator who's dealing with payroll, who's dealing with finance, who's dealing with budget. It's too much power under one person. That's got to change. Okay, and so consequently, I don't know where the budgets. I know we're short. We're not running a balanced budget. That's a big concern of mine. But I don't know what is all the numbers in the budget. That's why I sincerely think that we need to ask for a forensic audit. I need to know where the monies are at. I know I've heard there's possibly money that we had designated as to do the Performing Arts Center. Well, I hope that money was not redirected without board approval because we need to find that out. I don't know that. Nobody seems to know that. If they do that, I don't know. They don't come out and transparently tell you that. If I'm on that board, I'm gonna speak transparently. No behind the door decisions. We talk out in public. I think that you deserve that. I think that if we look at some of these things, you know, uh, we need to start releasing some of the pressures off the balloon in order to give the teachers the integrity of keeping up with the instruction. Our kids deserve better. Are we, Ms. Avendaño mentioned right now that staffing patterns are tough.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with her. We've been saying this, but it shouldn't have been here at our district. It might be a nationwide issue, but guess what? They had Easter money to keep a lot of good people from leaving. Last year we lost 550 people. We've already lost 26 and counting. I'm concerned because if right now we don't have enough staff, I guarantee you in December, I'm pretty sure they're going to come up with a real good plan for you from the administration to keep you for the rest of the year. But why? Why are we doing these things too late? I just learned two people that just left to IDEA and Jubilee, 1 and 1. And we couldn't hire them here, and we need the teachers. So we have some issues, we have some concerns, some conflicts to resolve. Okay? Is it going to be an easy task for us? I don't think so. I know I've been faced with a lot of challenges as a previous administrator. I'm not afraid of challenges. I'm here to help solve them. But one thing I tell you, it's going to take a team effort because right now, I feel like this team is in disarray. This administration is in disarray. I don't know what else to tell you. I know we've been promoting the team, the CEO, Caballero Elizondo and Ortiz. But I hope our community understands that we have so many things that we feel are out of touch with reality and out of touch with our teachers. On my website, I've got priorities. Okay, not to belittle or throw anybody under the bus. I'm the only candidate that has set these priorities, and they're on votevictorcaballero.com. Come to my website. The first group of folks that I'm really going to focus is on our students. The second is the district staff. The third thing is the programs that we have, and the fourth thing is the parental involvement. We need work, but those things need to be discussed as a unit on the board. My long-term goals, there's two of them that I'm going to focus on. One is going to be a strategic plan We need a 5-year strategic plan. I haven't seen one right now. We went through this debates here with you, and our opponents all of a sudden are putting all our platform or all our talking points on the agenda. And that's something that my other two friends that are running for their own place will tell you, because we've been at the board meetings. But I'm going to need everybody's help. First, I need to get everybody to come up and vote for me. I can't do this by my own. Okay, I've decided to tackle this conflicts that we have before us, but I think our community deserves better. You deserve better. And then the second thing I want to focus is on the long-term range is your compensation. I've heard you. We've heard you loud and clear. I just hope that when we walk in there, the numbers that we are going to be receiving is what I am afraid. I'm afraid monies might have been squandered. But those are interesting talking points. I won't know that information until we get there. So I hope that you are that you saw the. I'm pretty sure you did see the debate. We went to a second debate as well. Our opponents didn't show up because they can't debate us. We've got a lot of experience on our side, and it's a shame when people don't debate because you don't get to hear all the issues. So I am here. I am here to answer any of your questions, but at this point in time, our main focus was to go through your debates, and I want to thank this organization for being crystal clear in the debates, because we have one organization. They thought, and I've been saying this, that the leader thought he was part of Xi Jinping's regime. He took it upon himself to select the candidates without an interview. Well, I am very honored to be an endorsed candidate from you, and I've also gotten endorsed from another teacher organization, not as involved as you are. And I have to tell you, this is an organization that I have a lot of respect for, and I hope I get that support by your vote. So I am here to answer any of your questions. I have three immediate goals and two long range, because those have to be accomplished as well. Thank you, ladies. If you have any questions, I am available.
Thank you, sir. And we'll go ahead and leave it till the end to see if there's any questions, because I do have a little bit, just one or two questions. But let's go ahead.
I put the wrong website. So I put the second website that's posted in the chat is the correct website to Mr. Caballero's website. I'm sorry, the link.
Yes. So feel free to please go to his website and check out the priorities he has listed there. So next is going to be Mr. Frank Ortiz, and he's going to talk a little bit about his platform and his priorities. And then, like I mentioned, at the end, after Mr. Elizondo speaks, we'll go ahead and see if there's any questions. Okay, Mr. Ortiz, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Ida, and good evening to everyone. I do want to say that it's an honor being here with you all this evening. I agree with Mr. Caballero. We got endorsed by the best organization. Okay, AOBE is the organization that you want to look to because they do things the democratic way. All right. As was mentioned a little earlier, there is an organization that we didn't even get an opportunity to voice our platforms. We had another one that conducted individual interviews. If we're in a democratic society, we give all of our stakeholders an opportunity to voice their voices and to voice their opinions. And AOBE was the only one that did it. And I thank you for that, for giving us the opportunity to come on board for 2 days, for 2.5 hours. Okay. And for us to share our thoughts and our platforms and our vision for the Brownsville Independent School District. And I certainly want to thank y'all for that. I decided to run due to the fact that I love education. It's been my life. I've been in education for 41 years, and I'm still involved in education as I am still working uh, through UTRGV, supervising student teachers. These are going to be our individuals that are going to be going into the classrooms and becoming our classroom leaders in the very, very near future. Some even as soon as January. As a matter of fact, I already have one that's been hired for January. They're just waiting for her to finish her student teaching and get her certification, and she's ready to go. That's the reason why I decided to run for the school board. My passion for education, my experience that I bring to the table and that I can offer to our district. My priorities, of course, first and foremost, is safety. Um, want to make sure that our students and our employees feel safe at their place of employment, for our students at their place where they get their education, and certainly want to make sure that our parents feel safe also because they go to our campus as well. But most importantly, that they trust the district, that the facilities are what they should be in order for us to deliver instruction without the fear of having someone intruding into our campuses. I want to make sure that our district campuses have at least an armed officer on campus. The district did start that this year at the elementary level. They do have them at middle school and at the high schools, but not at the elementary level. We need to make sure that they are safe. We need to make sure that we have an armed officer on campus. The other thing that the district has already done and beginning to do is putting up 8 foot, um, fences, so that it's not going to deter anyone from coming in if they really want to come in, but at least it'll give us and the schools an opportunity to call first responders to get there, as fast as they can. It's a deterrent. Want to make sure that we have one entrance, one exit, and a lot of schools already have that. We want to make sure that all the campuses have updated cameras that are able to cover the perimeter of the school, and in some cases, even the inside of the hallways. We want to make sure that it is up to date. I know that when I left Cromac as a principal, they were just beginning to set up cameras at Cromac. We want to make sure that the Raptor system is taken care of. Uh, I had the Raptor system even when I was at Ben Bright, and that was about 10, 15 years ago. We want to make sure that the technology is up to date and we don't have outdated technology to support those specific programs for safety. I also support raising academic standards and achievement for all students. Now, how is that going to be done? It's going to be done by listening to our stakeholders, to our teachers, the ones that are in the classroom. They're our foot soldiers. They know what's needed. They understand exactly what's going on in the classroom. It shouldn't be top down. It should be bottom up. You tell us, we support, we listen, and we provide you the resources. Y'all are the ones that are there every single day, 5 days a week, early in the morning, even after hours, even on Saturdays, providing support for our students. We do have a gap because of COVID-19, so we need to support our teachers and let them tell us what is it that we need to do to get to the goal that we want to reach. We have a roadmap. Here, this is where we're at. This is where we want to get to. You tell us what route we take. And we need to support our teachers so that they can be successful and have our students be successful as well. Infrastructure is also what is one of my priorities. We want to make sure that our infrastructure district wide is in place to support technology. We all know that technology is the way of the future in education. We found that out when COVID hit us. When COVID hit us, we all had a crash course in technology. We learned our apps, and the students did too, and their parents as well. I mean, like overnight. So technology is here to stay, and it's not going to go anywhere, and that is the future. Testing is done online now. We need to make sure that our students and our teachers and the district has the proper infrastructure to support technology that we are using at our campuses. I certainly support better compensation for all employees. Sure, they received their $4,000 this year. Classified received their $15 an hour this year. But why did it take so long? Why wasn't this done 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago? Why did it just happen this year? Think about that. Our employees received their compensation, but there wasn't any equity to it. The gap has closed. We have employees that have served many, many years the district. And the way that the scale is right now, there really isn't any difference between a tenured and experienced teacher and one that's just coming in. That wasn't looked at properly. So now they want to do a compression study to try to get this taken care of. There should have been foresight when this was taking place. Now, you put all of these things together, the things that I just talked about right now, and as I go out there, in the field and talk to our employees, all of these things that I just mentioned, the morale at the district level is at its lowest. Our employees are being overworked. And what is happening at the campuses level is that they are taken away from the campuses. And it has our employees doing double and triple duties. They turn around and say, we gave you a raise, but at the same time, we're going to give you more work. And on top of that, we're going to raise your taxes because we've got to pay for your raise. The morale is it's just unacceptable. I hear the cries and I hear the concerns of our employees. Now, the question is, how can we increase, make sure that our teachers feel that, we are supporting them? How are we going to improve morale district-wide? Well, first of all, reduction of paperwork. That is just draining our employees. 3 hours to do a lesson plan, filling out paperwork that's redundant. When do the teachers have time to teach? Teachers approach me and say, Ms. Ortiz, we don't have time to teach. We're doing all this paperwork. We're doing all this testing. We're doing all this planning that it's, redundant. When can we teach our children? When do we find time to teach them? Also, how can we increase morale? Get rid of the duplication of programs. I think Mr. Caballero kind of addressed some of the programs when he was talking to our audience. There's so many programs out there that many of them are just duplication. We need to listen again, as I said, to our stakeholders. You tell us which applications are the effective ones. Quantity is not the answer. Quality is. And who knows better? Our teachers in the classroom, our employees. Right. I think that another way that we can bring up morale in our district is when respect and dignity is returned to our employees. We don't respect them. Their dignity's been taken away from them. And the teachers feel that and they know that. If we want to improve morale, we need to give them that respect and that dignity that our employees deserve. We need to support our employees with the resources that they need in the classroom. They need to feel supported by campus and district administration. This does make a difference and it improves morale. When administration supports them with discipline, those are issues that have come up quite a bit. And that we compensate our teachers for their efforts. We need to do away with intimidation. We need to do away with micromanagement. If we want to improve morale, these are the things that I would focus on, that we implement and accomplish in our district. Community engagement or parental involvement is another issue that we sometimes need to think about, and that I certainly want to be, addressing. We need to make our parents feel welcome at our schools. How do we do that? Inviting them, providing them some surveys to decide what their needs are, what their concerns are, having parent centers at all schools, and have topics of discussion that parents want to be informed about. Having parents involved in our schools' SBDM, and we need to utilize SBDM on our campuses and give meaning to that committee. And we should have community members, and we should have parents involved there in our committees as well. We're losing teachers, and I think Mr. Caballero talked about that a little while ago as well. We're losing teachers left and right. So many teachers that we don't have teachers to put in the classroom. We have classrooms with substitutes still now going into the third 6 weeks of school. That is totally unacceptable. Now, how can we recruit not only our teachers or employees, but also our students? Because the way that we're losing our employees, we're losing our students just as fast. How can we get them back? How can we recruit our teachers? Other districts have sign-in bonuses. That's certainly something that we can look at. Of course, that's all contingent within the district's budget. But that's something that we can look at, giving them sign-in bonuses. Certainly have a mentor program for all new teachers that are coming in. A lot of times, student teachers, and I see this, they go through their student teaching program. They get hired at a campus, and okay, here it is. That's your class. Go for it. We need to have a mentor program for these teachers coming in, because if we don't provide that, they get burned out right away. They get burned out. And what do they sometimes end up doing? Leaving the profession when they just first came in. So mentoring program for first teachers and new teachers is very, very important. Provide them with in-school training. Send them to seminars. Give them incentives for perfect attendance. We used to have that several years ago. Then we did away with that. As far as, we need to also promote best teaching practices. And that needs to go out to our parents as well, so that we can recruit students, bring them back. Publicizing teacher and student accomplishments within our community, to have teachers and employees want to come to BISD, so that parents can see what the district is doing and bring their students to us and keep them with us. We need to market and promote the latest technology capabilities. As I said, that was one of my platform issues here, improving district-wide. So we need to promote that and provide the latest technology capabilities that we have. Have teacher and student testimonials about the accomplishments that BISD has, the programs that BISD offers, the things that students like about BISD, things that teachers, like about BISD, things that our district is doing. We need to promote this in order to keep staff members, recruit staff members, and keep our students. Advertise in the newspaper, and I know that we do that. Commercials, and I've seen some with our district. And all the district's accomplishments. We need to do that consistently. Some may say, yeah, we see it here and there, but this needs to be ongoing. We need to be doing this all the time. We don't just do it during the summer. We don't just do it at the beginning of the school year. We don't just do it at the end of the school year. We need to be doing this consistently throughout the year, promoting our district. This is what our district is all about. This is what our district offers, not just in academics, but also in UIL, also in athletics. We need to cover our whole district holistically so that future employees can see the accomplishments that the district has and want to be part of our district, so that our parents and the community see the accomplishments and they want their children to be part of our district. These are some of the things that, as your board member, besides many other things, okay, that I would be focusing on, in addition to the items that I mentioned, in my platform. I want to thank you for listening to me. And once again, if there are any questions for me or for us, be more than happy to answer them. I want to thank AOBE again for the great job that they're doing. And believe me, they fight for you tooth and nail at every single board meeting. Okay. And that's what they're all about. And that's what I'm all about as well. I'm your voice because I do listen. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ortiz. We really appreciate that. And now we're going to move along to Mr. Elizondo. And then after that, we're going to go ahead and see if there's any questions or comments that we want to share or we want to ask them. This is going to be the opportunity. So I thank you all so much for being here with us and getting to know your candidates. And now we turn it over to Mr. Elizondo so he can tell us a little bit about his platform and his plans for BISD.
Well, thank you, Ida and Veronica and every other member that's tuning in to see us today. Thank you, AOB. Appreciate all the support that you've given us and the respect that you've given us. And I want to do the same thing. I think all three individuals that are here tonight want to make sure that that respect is given back to you at the school district. And with every member out there going out there and voting and their family members and friends, I think that's something that can be accomplished very soon. Again, thank you so much. First and foremost, my name is Carlos Elizondo, and I am your candidate for BISD Trustee Place 1. I'm going to tell you, I've been in public service my entire career. Started my career in 94, but very strongly in 97. I joined the union and became a steward of the union for many years until I became the president of the union. And so I know that these ladies here today and behind the scenes have done as much work that can be done. But now it's up to the membership to make sure that you showed not only us the support, but them for going out there and fighting tooth and nail every day for the shortcomings of your current board and your current superintendent. Also being known that there is abuse and bullying, and I'm sure they can tell you and they can attest for that. That's something that I didn't stand for as a union steward and then president of the local 970. But it is very hard to stand up there by yourself. So please show these ladies the support and love that they deserve. They go out there on a daily basis and making sure that you get compensated and treated with respect. Unfortunately, this current board and with the lead of the superintendent have shown very little respect, and that is something that we will change once we get into November the 9th. We'll take to see November the 9th, or as soon as they can give us the oath. But for my platform, it's pretty simple. First of all, I did have safety, like Mr. Caballero and Mr. Ortiz said, but I think we can't get to the safety aspects of it unless we end the corruption that you see today within the school district. It's pretty rampant. It had spread like wildfire throughout not only the city, the county, but BISD as well. And you can see a lot of the news that's happening. If we can stop that corruption, I think not, safety will move up to that first priority. But being said, safety, because I am a firefighter, paramedic, and a registered nurse currently, and I am also a critical nurse doing work for the state in the emergency management division. I've also, the last job that I did have was overseeing 211 schools for the public health as a public health administrator and safety. So I know the concerns of the school districts, and it is something that needs to be addressed. Both of my colleagues here, my running mates, as you can say it, they've all said that that is something that has to be looked at and is being looked at by by us. But the attention that it's been given, it's only been given that much priority now because it is an election cycle. And that's something that they have failed to do the last 4 years. COVID, remember, didn't happen just this last month or 2 or 3 months ago. Like they lead you to believe that that's now their priority is your safety. As you well know, that some of you BIZ staff members have been left behind or even left outside, per se, in the cold, having to fight for your own COVID benefits or your days and times off. We've even had stories that people have to share days because the school district has denied your ability to go and recover at home, especially after being sick, whether it be COVID, the flu, or any type of illness. So it's a constant battle with the current board not giving you the attention or giving you the respect that you deserve as an educator for the school district, one of the best school districts that we have. My opponent claims it to be one of her priorities, but as you can see, there is a huge downfall. We have rooms right now within BISD facilities stacked to the rim with supplies, equipment that was bought with taxpayer monies and is not even being used. So if you look at that, that is not only a shortfall, but a lack of attention to the details. Both Mr. Caballero and Mr. Ortiz mentioned about budget constraints and shortfalls, especially when it comes to your raises. And by overspending and living outside of their means or being able to divert some of these monies to vendors to make sure that they keep their promises to them and not to you. You've seen now that the school district is just falling apart and it's coming down. The walls are coming down. But the good thing about it, AOB has been a very staunch supporter of not only doing the right thing, but also making sure that the light is shined on these individuals that are doing this to you guys. So thank you, Ida, for all that work that you do, and of course, Veronica and everybody that supports you. Um, my my other concern is also the ratios, teacher ratios, because nobody wants to come to work to BIZ. Before, people used to knock on the door and be waiting in lines before they can even be let in. But what we see now with this current board and this superintendent is that people from Hidalgo County are jumping over the fence, up over and around the size of educators that have been waiting in line, especially people that live in Brownsville and pay taxes here to get into a spot. But not even then now is attracting anybody because our pay is so low. Even with the $4,000 raise they gave you, you're looking at maybe after your tax increase and your stipends being reduced, you're looking at maybe $100, $120 that you will put into your pocket at the end of the month. So for teachers, I think my biggest concern is the ratios. We have a 27 to almost a 32 kids per teacher ratio. That's absurd. That shouldn't be done. The more kids you have in there, the less productivity you're going to have in the classroom. So what they're doing is giving you a little raise, but actually doubling your work. And for counselors, you're looking at the counselor ratio being between 450 to 600, per counselors. That's just absurd. That's crazy. And I tell you, because my wife is a counselor at a high school, and she tells me that she's got over 600 students that she has to be responsible for. That is just unacceptable, to say the least. Also, with that, talking about counselors, They're also being given too many counseling or non-counseling duties, and now they're being told that they have to make sure that they account for minute by minute, especially if it's outside of the counseling duties, and create a spreadsheet that they need to turn into, I guess, the director of counseling to make sure that they fulfill those requirements. So it's just another, you know, added extra work for all counselors in the district. And then they got to be responsible for CCMR points. They got to do the TSI testing. They got to complete FAFSA. And, now our counselors are also doing becoming college advisors, and only because we are graduating more kids with associate's degree, but they're not being compensated for those extra duties. So we got to look at that. That's another priority that I have. To add to that, you have your custodians now. Your custodians have been given more per square foot um, um, space of the school district because there's not enough custodians, and so they're reducing the staff, but they're giving them double duties. But they only got, maybe some of them got $1 raise. I'm not sure Mr. Ortiz or Caballero stated, with the raise they got is a $15 entry level raise, but you have 16, 17, maybe 20-year custodians with seniority, making $16. They got $1 raise, maybe even $17. That's something else that we need to look into. And believe me, I'm real good at making sure that senior members of BISD should be compensated better, for their worth, especially for the dedication to the school district. FNS employees are being shared between schools, so they're doubling their work because there's not enough FNS employees out there to be able to make sure that one school can feed the kids, but there's not enough people. There's not enough FNS workers, so they have to share them between schools. That's not proficient, but also not being compensated for those travel times or travel mileages of their vehicles, or even fuel costs. But also just double the work. Another thing dear to my heart is the nurses. You have nurses out there well, let's just say there's not enough nurses out there, first and foremost, right? And the ones that are out there are getting double duties. Now, what they're trying to do is also, you have an RN, which is your higher level of care nurse, and your LVN. And what you're trying to do is they're trying to minimize the amount of RNs because they cost a little bit more, but because they're worth more because of their education. And you're trying to plug in these holes with LVNs and making sure that they're able to facilitate the adequate care across the district. But there's not enough there, so they're making RNs, even LVNs, share schools. So in case of emergencies, like Mr. Ortiz says, a safety concern, how are you going to be able to respond from one school to the other if there's an emergency at that school that the nurse is not there at that moment in time? And yet also their compensations, they're not taking into to consider their compensation for those extra duties. And then also, if there is an emergency, to cover, I think the ratio right now is between 700 to over 1,000 students per nurse. How can one nurse, how can one counselor, one teacher take on that much workload, and be adequate or proficient in their profession? A big proponent, I think Mr. Caballero mentioned also, is a moratorium on all new programs. Those programs are being doubled. They're forced on the teacher's back to be able to use, only because the district has bought something to facilitate someone's pocket, per se. I think there needs to be a stop to that, making sure that you bring in teachers. Mr. Ortiz said, bring in teachers to be able to evaluate these programs and which one is the best one for them, so they can spend less time, putting in information into these programs and more time teaching. Also, there was teachers out there, and I went to the last meeting as well, is there's teachers out there spending 3 or 4 hours, up to 8 hours, sometimes doing lesson plans. That's something we need to look into. And you have the experts. I'm not the experts in the education field. We have two of them. We have Mr. Caballero and Mr. Ortiz. Those guys are your SMEs, your subject matter experts. I'm the subject matter expert when it comes to health and safety, and I think they will use me for those avenues as well. So this team not only is the choice of AOBE and membership, it's because we were able to make sure that we listen to you, we answer the hard questions that you guys post onto us over 2 days and over 5 hours. But we've been we've been preparing for something like this, which will never happen again. You will never have these three individuals with different aspects of as expertise in one election. So it's very, very important for us to go out there and making sure that the community, not only yourself as members, but the people that look up to you, that ask you for advice, and you tell them why it is so important to make sure that CEO gets elected for BISD. It will not only change our community, it'll change our educational platform, but it'll also change our future within the next 5 years, like Mr. Caballero said about the strategic plan that hasn't been put in place. Our opponents can go out there and tell you and lie to you about stuff that they want to do and they promise to you, only because it is an election cycle, and there's a lot of things that they don't want us to find out. This is why I'm a huge proponent for fiscal responsibility, but also for a forensic audit. We need to make sure that we know where all those monies went. We promised the community almost 7 years ago during the TRE, the building to be able to have our performing arts. There was monies already allocated, put in a special fund that should not have been touched, and they were allocated for that building and only that. But the only way they were able to grab or touch it, from my understanding, was if the current board changed those dynamics. So what we want to know is, where are those monies and what have they done to them? I believe, with the calculations I have, and I'm not the expert, that we would need a financial expert, is making sure there should be about $53 million that were allocated for that building itself. And I currently pass through there, and all we see is just grass. Our opponents go out there and promise, the moon in the sky and give us 4 more years, and we'll make sure that we get those projects established. But I don't think we can wait anymore. I think that not only the future of our kids depends on it, but the future of our staff as well. Mr. Caballero Ortiz says there's over 550 people, and I'm talking about tenured individuals who have given years, if not decades of their life to educate our kids, that have left. They have broken the soul of a lot of educators and staff members, and only because they want to see a monetary value, within themselves and in their pocket. And I think that needs to stop. And we can see that we have not only, I'm running against two people. I'm running against Drew Brown and Philip Cowan, but now I'm also running against Mr. Eddie Garcia and Denise. They're both on platforms, calling me out. They're both paying bloggers and to discredit our campaign and our efforts to making sure that we get our voice and our platform out there. But if you don't want to believe us, go back and look at the AOBE forums. We even have another forum that we attended. Go look at that. Listen to the heart. And they weren't easy questions by all means. Listen to those questions and then make the choice based on those answers. Our opponents never showed up to one of them. My opponent decided not to show up to the second part of AOBE. So make an educated choice. You do have a choice November the 8th, but make sure it's the right choice. Making sure it's the right choice where you can sit back and say, you know what, these next 4 years, we're going to see good changes. And all we're asking for is a change. I'm open for any questions. I've answered the hardest questions I can. I'm not here to hide from anybody. I'm not here to step on anybody, but I'm here to making sure that I do the best thing for the majority of the individuals in the school district, especially our kids.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you so much for that. And one of the things that you all mentioned, and it is so true, that it used to be very difficult to get into BISD to work as an employee. There was a long waiting list to get in there because that was the place to work. You had great benefits, you had job security. You said it with pride. I work at BISD, and now it's sad to say that you can't find enough people to interview for these positions. So obviously there has to be something that needs to change, and it needs a lot of attention, and there's a lot of healing to be done in BISD. And so now we're gonna see on sorry, bless you, Chico, he sneezed, you guys, sorry. uh but and all over my hand. But we're gonna go to the comments, and let's see if there's any questions or comments. But I think it was a great opportunity, and a lot of great plans were discussed or revealed here. So that's really good, that they have the opportunity. They had the opportunity to hear you guys.
Yep.
So
We have a few comments. Just Yasmin Cruz, hello everyone. David Castro, even with this broken leg I got Saturday, I'm going to go vote for these 3 men.
awesome. Thank you, David. And make sure that you also tell your family and friends, David, since you have a broken leg, you mentioned, you have time to be able to make a very good list and follow up on that list. I can't say it enough, people. We need to get people to the polls. Okay. So, David, I'm going to hold you to that and see how many people you get to the polls.
Miss Elizabeth Torres is sending us good vibes. Employee morale is a big issue.
How come the comments not coming down at the bottom?
What do you mean?
Or is it going to cover them if you put it?
It is there.
Oh, sorry. It's my computer. Sorry.
I'm like, what? I see it.
Sorry.
Employee morale is a big issue. Employees who feel supported and respected are willing to do extra when the need arises. That is correct. Miss Virginia Ramirez, you've got my vote. Myra Perez, Mr. Ortiz, best principal ever. David Castro, what do you all think about no longer having open enrollment and looking into redrawing the campus lines?
Who wants to take that question? You can step forward on that and speak.
I like to respond to that. I understand that right now they have lifted the zoning for middle schools and high schools. When you do that, you tend to overload one school with a lot of students, one. Two, then you've got students that are even at the risk of being recruited for some of the athletic programs. And then you see an overload of a lot of good athletes on one campus, and it drains the other programs. And I think that's a wrong step. I think that we need to follow a zoning a restrictive zoning for all the campuses, middle and high school. I don't like the current setup.
Okay. Go ahead. Next comment.
Next one. As for nurses, some of them have the smallest office and out-of-date office that can't even fit a wheelchair through the door. Can some of the old campuses be looked into?
Sure, I can answer that, unless you want to, Ms. Ortiz.
Go ahead, Mr. Lisondo. I'll make my comments afterwards.
Yeah, I guess because I am the nurse, I could tell you it's very difficult for a nurse to do her job, his or her job, in a confined space, especially when it comes into an injury. I've seen some of these nurses that it looks like they're even inside of a closet, to say the least. We can go ahead and create a committee from the nurses pool to make sure that we can address those circumstances that they're living in right now. I know a lot of the times they're overlooked, even though they're a huge support system of the school district. The nurses have been overlooked for many, many years. So I think it would be nice to go in there and see, because every school has the ability to be able to shift. But we can find solutions to that, making sure that we bring them in and look at the specific sites where the nurses are being held at, or even housed at, or from. I think that's one of the biggest things we could do. A lot of the places do have the ability to expand, and I'm sure we can do that. We have a lot of skilled workers within the school district and maintenance that can facilitate those remodels if we have to, or moves. So just be able to reach out to the individuals and bring them together and making sure that we're able to uh, assist the nurses in their current status.
My comment was that being a principal at three different schools here in Brownsville, I was able to compare the facilities that our nurses work in. When I opened up Ben Bright Elementary, brand new school, the nurses' facilities there were just tremendous. Uh, had showers. I mean, they had. I mean, you could, actually take a wheelchair there for a student, that needed to go into the restroom area or even into the shower area. Uh, and then when I became principal at another school, the last school that I retired from, I walked onto campus and I saw a little building in the middle of the campus, and I walked to it to go take a look at it, and lo and behold, there was a nurse's office. And I said, "This is a nurse's office." I'm in like a little closet, small facilities, and I think that we need to update our campuses, especially with facilities. I mean, nurses are very, very important. I mean, just like all other employees, but there's students that are have injuries, and sometimes paramedics have to go in there and put a child on a stretcher, and they can't get in there. So here we are. They're the paramedics carrying students, to put them on the stretcher. So, we need to take a look at some of our facilities. And I think I agree with Mr. Elizondo. We need to upgrade some of these nurses stations and make them accessible to everyone, because some of them are, yes, I agree, little closets. Like I said, I've lived through it. I've seen one that has everything that a nurse's office should have, and another one that has very limited space.
You also, just to piggyback on Ms. Ortiz, you also got to consider the nurse is not just dealing with kids or staff that have headaches or cramps or just a breakdown. You also got to look at what's going on right now. You have a lot of fentanyl overdoses that are happening within school systems. They also need to be able to be trained under hazmat situations where, like Mr. Ortiz says, you need a shower, you need an eye wash station, you need somewhere where you can isolate some of these individuals for whatever reason. We do need to look at the nurses. They're being overlooked. Their duties are being overlooked, and we need to give them that important role because they do play a huge factor in the support system of the school district.
Yes, not only that, talking about who the nurses work with, they don't just work with the students at the school. They work with employees, teachers also. Sometimes we have accidents there, sometimes even parents. We do have parents sometimes that go into the school and they get injured, and they take care of them, and certainly our teachers as well, besides the students. So, that's a lot of different things that take place. And that's the experience that I bring to the school board. That Mr. Caballero and I, we've been there, we've seen it, we know the needs, we know the concerns, we've lived it, so and dealing at the district level, we can address these issues.
Definitely.
Thank you, Mr. Caballero, Mr. Ortiz, and Mr. Elizondo for your commitment to our district and community. Thank you, Micaela. What do you think about having keyless entry to our schools?
Again, I'm going to tell you, just by experience of being able to deal with 211 schools, that was something that some of these schools were looking into. Just like hospitals have keyless entries, it also you have to look at budget constraints because this keyless entry systems are very, very expensive. But also you have to protect that key because if anybody else can pick it up or someone loses, they can gain access to that. Even though they can trace how many times you've gone in and out of the door, that's just how they work. They're very, very expensive. There's other things we can look into to be able to facilitate the safety and security of every staff and kid of our campuses. But that's something where you would have to bring in your police force. This is why it's important not to defund the police like this current board wants to do. They want to increase the police force staff, but they want to decrease the security or eliminate it completely. I'm not for that at all. I think we need both. They both support each other in the safety perspective. And so I am 100% behind being able to look and getting, again, subject matter experts. We have two educators, they're experts in their field, but they have no police degree or police background. I don't either, but I do have the medical side of it and the 911 status of it. But this is where we can think outside of the box, like you were saying, and bring in the experts in that field and making sure that we facilitate the highest priorities, which is, of course, the safety of our staff and our kids. And there would probably be the people to be able to tell you what would work best and vet those things with a maybe even a committee to making sure that we get the best stuff.
Anybody else on that one? All right. I don't think there is open enrollment for middle school and high school. We still have to apply and get approved.
Not sure on that one.
We'll verify. Miss Aguilar, Miss Maria Magdalena Maggie, have you considered the campus's need for a technology teacher per campus to work solely on technological issues and not be responsible for other duties outside of technology?
I don't know who's going to take this question, but I do want to add something on that one. It's unbelievable that some of the research that we've done, because AOBE is looking into some of the things that the technology department is taking care of and everything. Since the pandemic started, just so everyone can know, the technology devices that the district handles have more than tripled since the pandemic started. But yet, no additional staff has been added to help that department. And I mean, in a time when we, for a while, went completely virtual, and we depended on them, and we still do. I just couldn't believe that we have more than tripled in that department, but yet we haven't done anything to support that department. So that is a very interesting comment, Maggie, about having that, because the demands on technology have increased a lot, but yet we haven't taken care of that department or those employees that do so much for that department. And that is just another thing that this compensation plan does to show disrespect to our employees that have been here. Because in fact, some of those employees, and I won't get too much in detail into it, but some of those employees have been reclassified into a lower pay grade, and it makes no sense when it has tripled in devices that they handle, and the workload has increased so much, so many more work orders, plus they're assisting people because they use their personal cell phones and personal devices, and they still assist those people. They don't just turn them away, but because they're using some of those many platforms that Mr. Caballero mentioned and Mr. Ortiz, they're using them on their personal devices as well, and they're supporting those things, and yet that's what we did to that department. So that is one of the hot topics that I will, once you guys get elected, that I will be having with you guys, that conversation, because that is just so wrong. Not in a time when technology is now in the forefront in leading instruction right now. But that is a very interesting point of looking into having that at the campuses. So I don't know if anybody else wants to add anything to that, but I just had to add my 2 cents on that.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and take that since well, one of my platforms is infrastructure for technology. Going back to the question that was asked, there was a time when every campus had a TST on campus, okay, which is a technology person. And that person basically, and like I just said a little while ago, we didn't have the amount of technology back then that we have now. Now, I mean, not only do the teachers have technology, but the students have technology. Sometimes we need to address some technology issues that the students have. Uh, we used to have a TST at every campus that would address all the technology issues, and we were able to provide, services to like immediately, like right away, because that's all that this person was able to do. All of a sudden, they started disappearing. They started cutting them. You know, and it got to the point to where the campuses lost them, and who was going to take care of the technology issues? Do we have a person that has the technological knowledge to be able to reboot or restart or troubleshoot a computer or any type of technology that we have on campus? So we were kind of stuck there for a minute. So we had to do with what we had as an administrator. So what who were some of the individuals that were assigned those duties? Usually it went to the librarian. Okay. Usually went maybe to a teacher on campus. So then again, if it was the librarian, you go into the library and the librarian wasn't there because she was too busy trying to tackle this technology issues that our teachers were having. And if it was a teacher, forget it. Teacher couldn't leave the classroom. So they were being given additional duties, which are the things that we've been talking about tonight. Our employees are overloaded with additional work that they need to do. And then if it took 2 or 3 days before that individual was able to get to that teacher because of the backlog of the technology issues that they were having on campus. So yeah, we need to take a look at that because, as I've said, technology is the way of the future. Okay, and we're going to have people on campus that have that savvy to be able to address those issues on that campus. Otherwise, here we go again, giving people additional work, burning them out. So that I just wanted to share that would be one of the things that certainly we need to start looking at because technology is here to stay.
Absolutely. Exactly. That's why I don't understand why we're not taking care of that department. I mean, totally disrespecting that department, and that has got to change. But anyway,
Ida,
go ahead.
just a real
Monday.
quick, just to come in on that. Was the department personnel, what their title was changed, what, to reduce their pay or just to disrespect them?
Their title was changed, and it didn't reduce their pay, so they did not lose anything. But when you get moved to a lower pay grade, it affects your future raises.
So that's what I'm saying.
So
So eventually it will affect their raises because the title has been changed. So
absolutely.
it's not only for their pay, but it's also a disrespect on the, I guess, their duties or their education for that field.
Yeah,
I mean,
and then
that's absurd. But yeah, I know what you're saying. It's just a total disrespect. I
it's
mean, again,
demoralizing. Yeah,
it's exactly. Thank you. That's the word. Thank you for the word. The demoralizing. You demoralize the
yeah.
individual so you have control over them.
And what's amazing is, and it's at a time, and I have the actual number because I asked for a public information request on it, and it more than tripled. So their workload increased, but yet we moved them down. We demoralized them. I mean, who wants to go above and beyond when you're treated that way? And they're still performing above and beyond. I mean, I have to hand it to them. But technology is not going anywhere. That workload is not going to go down. I mean, we've opened up areas of instruction now and platforms that are technology based. So it's just unbelievable.
I like to chime in on that as well. You know, we live in a period of of teaching and instructing in a different capacity. I think that as a board, I think this is an item that definitely needs to be looked at. It has to be where you take load off of the technological issues and give more integrity to the instruction. And I think that as a board, it is going to be our duty to have these discussions. Probably look at the TST position. We held it at one point, but we also going to need to talk about the budgetary constraints. We need to attract more students into our district in order to attract more revenue, and we all know that. So, I think you started your show, and I was hearing it, where there's a tomorrow we have the PEAM snapshot date, critical date. We gotta get those kids, and then we also have to get to the state and addressing the issues of, okay, after tomorrow, either the charter schools keep their students or we get them. But if they come to us, we need to start talking and says, hey, the money needs to travel back to the school districts.
That's
Because
right.
right now, I think we're being cheated out of it. I think that major decisions have to be made in regards to budget. And I have to say this because we can all say we're going to support it, but if the budget numbers are not appropriate, then we're still giving the teachers more work. And so I think that there's some factors as a board to look at. We need to start as well, as we've said all along. We're going to need to talk to people at the state level. There's no way of getting around these things because I don't think we're making the right connections. We're just sitting back here in the lower valley, and we're taking it, especially here in Brownsville. So
Yep.
I think that as a board, we need to start speaking up.
I
Agreed.
agree.
Ms.
I agree.
Claudia said teachers are expected to now take care of technology in the classrooms, especially now that we are all testing online. Miss Maggie Inglet, vote CEO for your Brownsville ISD board. Thank you, Miss Maggie. Virginia, Miss Virginia. Oh, we haven't seen you in a while. What are your thoughts about medical insurance? I just heard we might have our insurance increase. So our BISD taxes went up and medical insurance is apparently going to go up. So that puts me with basically no raise. If you get elected, will you look into ensuring we have a paycheck as well?
And I don't know who's going to want to handle that one, but I will add that that is on top of some of your ESSER funds going into the health insurance. They allocated, I don't remember how many millions of dollars into. I want to say it might have been 4 million. I'm not completely sure on that, but that went into the health insurance fund when it should have been going towards safety and employee retention, but they manipulated it into different areas. And even with all of that and not being able to balance the budget, we're probably looking at an increase in medical insurance. So I just wanted to add again my 2 cents, and whoever wants to comment on that.
I'll start it off. I'm going to start this off. When I was the principal at Garden Park, I was the employee benefits representative for that campus. I know that the issue came up with when we were trying to get employees to pay up to $40 a month for insurance. We were one of the first groups to say, no, that's too high. And so we wound up bringing it back to $15. Well, this is the important thing that I have said since the beginning. In order, and we're gonna, if we're elected, we're gonna have to tackle these issues really fast. Simply because insurance costs are up. We know that. Everybody knows that. But we need to know where the money is going. How was the ESSER funds allocated? We haven't gotten, you all haven't gotten an idea because it's been hidden from you. It's been hidden from you all this time. I don't know it. I don't know. I don't think these two other gentlemen know where the monies have been allocated to. It is critical that we study that issue because our employees, Mr. Elizondo and I just had that conversation today while we were out there in the polls. We have said by the time we realize it, they've got about $140, $120 pay raise per month if they get you with this insurance cost. I want to know how they've covered it, because at one point, when Mr. Lorenzo Sanchez was the CFO at one point, we were bleeding red. If you all remember that Micaela Escobar, who is part of this organization, ran that department, and we were like 33 million in the hole. All of a sudden, we're in the green. Wow, where did all that money come from? Even though the monies were being paid, but we did not have enough money to cover all our employees. We were operating in the red every year. So that's a very complex question that I would say we three members, unless there's a magic number all of a sudden that comes into our laps, but that's a complex question that needs to be addressed with us. We need to study that very carefully before I can even give you an answer. And yes, Jennifer Redes, we need an audit. We need it now, and we can't wait for it to happen.
Absolutely. And you're very right on point with that, Mr. Caballero. That was why we kept asking to be on this ESSER committee. We wanted to be able to monitor where those funds were going to be going. It did not end up anywhere of where it was primarily proposed from the very beginning. They reallocated it to so many different areas, and it ended up funding salaries for current employees and things like that. So again, they manipulated the system. They played with it. I like to compare it to getting very creative on your taxes. It's something comparable to that, where you are still within the legalities of it, but then that's not what it was intended for. It was intended for safety and employee retention, and that is why we're in the crisis that we are in, because you manipulated money that wasn't supposed to be for that, and you used it and you got creative, and it didn't serve its purpose. So
Ms.
Let me just,
Avendaño, just one other comment I'd like to say. You know, we, you and I have been at meetings because Mr. Ortiz and I have been in all the meetings throughout the year since October of last year. And I can tell you, since getting the ESSER funds, my question, and I think you were right in front of me when I made a comment out loud, right now, where is our local money going? I haven't seen that. I haven't heard that. Where is some of the state and federal monies going? Because right now, and I'm going to tell you, maybe we're transparent with everybody here, but
mhm.
they even have a case up at TEA regarding misappropriation of funds. That I am very much interested in finding out where they're at with that. Because I have a feeling that once this audit gets done, we're going to have some things very interesting pop up. And I can't wait. But that's a decision that first we got to get to the major issue, get us elected, get us there so we can stay out and give you the proper numbers. There's going to be transparency. I promise you that. And there's a lot of folks that served from your organization that were the EBC representatives for their campuses. And I just happened to, nobody on my campus wanted it. And so I put myself and took care of the campus needs in order for them to focus on their instruction. But I think there's a lot of work to be done here. And I don't see any other way until we get the numbers, Ms. Avendaño.
Absolutely.
Mr. Caballero, is it fair to say that every time there's, and like you said, mentioned that TEA has a misappropriation of funds from the school district, every time that these like this current board and superintendent have put these monies where they shouldn't go, they're putting the burden back on the employee, hence raising their insurance, dropping the raises, increasing taxes. So you see that the employee is always having to champion their downfalls. This is what we're saying. So now they're going to put the burden on the employees to put back monies that they misappropriated. This is why it's so important to be able to get in there, us to get in there and ask for that forensic audit that we so desperately need to find out where did they go? Because the funds went somewhere. They didn't go into the pockets of the employee.
Yep.
But now the employee has to champion their downfall and their shortcomings. This is what we're saying. This is what needs to stop.
These are some of the things, Mr. Elizondo, that attracted a lot of our employees because of the strong benefit packages that we once held. And
Agreed,
it's shameful
100%.
to see and to say that we're not a champion for our employees. And this is another area, like I said, that we're going to be challenged with, and we're going to have those fierce conversations among those of us that are there. And whether we like it or not, we got to face those issues.
Yes.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Beto.
All right. Remember, CEO, yes, ma'am, Ms. Huerta, were federal funds used to make the payments to the scammers?
Yes. Most definitely.
Mr. Caballero, I was part of the EBC with you, and you did an awesome job.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Virginia.
Okay.
Do you have any questions that came into you on your phone, Ida?
They did, but they had already kind of more or less been covered on here. I don't know if you have some. I know we're going kind of long on here. Did you want to cover some more?
No, I don't see it.
Okay. Gentlemen, I want to thank you all, a sincere big thank you, especially because all three of you have been out at the camps all day in the sun, all week long. You guys have been going above and beyond. I mentioned earlier, I appreciate how professional you all are being out there. Very courteous to everyone. In fact, always cleaning up after everyone. You all don't leave any mess behind. That is commendable. I mean, that is just the type of people you all are. So I appreciate that. But especially after such a long week and long day, and it's still not over, you guys are still going to be there bright and early tomorrow. But we thank you for taking the time to talk to people, to take a few questions. And, even though you all have had meet and greets all week long, all last week, you guys are still, giving it 100%. So we appreciate that. And all we can ask in return is for the people to be making their list of people to monitor and make sure that they go out and vote. And, that's how we can thank you guys for what you guys are willing to do for us, for the people. And
I want to have one last comment, if you don't mind.
Sure, not a problem. We had one more question that came in, and that's the last one, I promise.
No problem.
Okay.
Go ahead, Beto.
Ask for the health insurance cash flow. Are they reconciling with the third-party administrators? That's not so much a question and more like a piece of advice.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true.
And
Go
that's
ahead,
something
Mr.
that they need to tell us.
Yeah.
That's something that we're going to need to track. That's also part of how you investigate that is happening. It's just like right now, they haven't even reconciled the emergency fund balance since July. Y'all remember that, because that was part of the discussion that the board, the CFO gave to the board, which to me, he should have had that information every month, not every 6 months.
Absolutely.
Correct.
But I wanted to say one other thing. I want everybody in this organization to know, because these gentlemen and I have pretty much followed. Our minds think the same. We have a great future for this district, but I have to tell you, BISD has not been sold out by us. We have not taken any money from any vendors. We have not taken any money from special interest. Our monies have been from probably some of these gentlemen's pockets, my fundraisers, my family, my friends, as I've mentioned, and it continues to be that way. Don't let anyone fool you and tell you that our campaigns are being funded by previous board attorney. Not true. They are. I'm going to tell you this right now because as we're moving forward, they are trying to pin things on us, which is very unprofessional. We've not engaged in any dirty politics. We will continue to stay focused, and I guarantee you, you got three representatives here that if our community doesn't come out to support us, I don't know what else I can do for you all. But at this point, I'd like to thank Mr. Elizondo, thank Mr. Ortiz. They've been a great asset to what we're trying to do here. And I thank your organization for such a great opportunity to talk to you about these issues. Mil gracias and God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you. We receive those blessings and we return them right back to you. We have a few more comments that just came in, and Ms. Vero is just going to read them really quick.
Yes, I'm just voted for you, gentlemen. Today, we need more people to go out there. Thank you, gentlemen, for putting yourselves out there for our children of Brownsville. Great job. Great job. You got my vote. Good luck, CEO. You can do this. People get out there and go vote. Amen.
Yes. Awesome job. Thank you so much again for, I know, another great night. It always goes long, but
Another great late night.
yes. But great conversations, great information. And again, we thank you for everything, for the sacrifices y'all are doing. It's time away from your family. And we appreciate that. And we thank you. And hopefully get to see y'all tomorrow out there at the polls. And please, people, we encourage you, please, can't say it enough. Take them out there, follow through, make sure they go and vote. Okay. So thank you.
Just real quick, a comment just to finalize. I usually get there about 4 a.m. to set up, and we set up our camp, because we want to make sure that we've got the best place to making sure that we're out there, we're known. But with that being said, at the end of the day, every time, not only myself, but Mr. Caballero, Frank, his wife, my wife, and every supporter that's there, we go out through all the side, making sure that Veterans Park is picked up and clean, because we are not the only ones there. So we pick up signs, we could pick up trash, not just our signs, but everybody else's signs that were littered there and left there. So you need to understand that is a Veterans Park, and we take that responsibility because we are there representing the community. So Mr. Caballero, thank you. Mr. Ortiz, thank you. And everybody that's gone out there to support us, we clean up not only our stuff, but everybody else's trash that's left behind. So just so you know, if you've seen us picking up stuff, we're picking everybody's trash, making sure signs, everything included, making sure it's ready for the next day and it's presentable for our veterans and every visitor that goes there on a daily basis. Just wanted to let you guys know. And Miss Nelda, she's been great. She's been out there every single day to support us. So thank you so much. And thank every member that's gone out there to support us and bringing us snacks and water and stuff, because it is going to start getting hot. So I want to say, I love what I'm doing. I feel the support, and I know that this team is going to make it to be able to represent each and every one of you November the 9th.
Yeah.
Yes,
Absolutely.
just to add what Mr. Elizondo just said a little while ago, I do want to thank him. He's out there, like you said, at 4 o'clock in the morning. Okay, before the sun comes out, just to make sure that we get the best spot that we have out there. What he just mentioned a little while ago. I, I can't say it enough, but I love our district. I'm a product of it, and this is an opportunity that we're offering the whole community, all of us running for the school board at this time. It's not going to happen for a long, long time when you're going to have this combination running for the school board, and we're here to do everything that we can to get our district back. If you think it's bad right now, if we don't get elected, it's going to get even worse. So please I beg you, go out there and get the vote out. And we need to get our district back, and we need to think about our children because that's what it's all about. Thank you.
Absolutely.
CEO. I put you in
Oh,
order.
I like that.
I should have done that
I
from
was
the
wondering
beginning.
why the towels are moving so much. I was like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah.
Coco says
Wow.
good luck, and he's praying for you, right, Coco? Yes.
Yes. Oh, yeah, and I
Thank
do
you.
want to add on that we're never going to leave, válgame. But I can attest to seeing them clean up at the camp, at the park. Everybody just, pulls together to clean up. And I mean, it's unbelievable. You would think everybody would do that, but they don't. Some people just leave their signs there thrown on the floor and everything, and trash and things like that. And it's just, you guys, after a very long day, you all are able to do that, and that's commendable. I
We're
mean,
going to be known as the guys who come in to clean up the stuff. Just
Yes,
remember,
right.
there you go. There you go.
thank you,
So
ma'am.
thank you so much for
Thank
that, guys.
you,
Because I mean,
thank you,
you guys are
thank
going
you.
above and beyond.
Thank you so much for joining us this evening. It's been a very long day for you, we know, but we appreciate your time. We appreciate your efforts, and we appreciate all the knowledge and everything that you're willing to share with people so they can make a very informed decision as they go vote. So again, as Miss Ida said earlier, take 20 people with you. 20 people with you.
Read that comment.
Coco says take 20 people with you. This one?
Read the comment.
This one?
Well,
Oh,
just the last ones that came in. I just don't want to leave anybody out.
Mr.
Sorry,
Cisneros wants to know about the wheel, Ida. He said no wheel,
not
huh?
that one. Not that one.
The campaign contributors list are on the BISD website for each candidate. The incumbents have 5 to 12 pages of donations from attorneys and campaigns. Prayers your
Wow.
way, and great candidates with years of educational experience.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
again, thank you so much. Thank you to everybody who joined us for this long evening. We look forward to seeing any and all of you out uh, at the voting polls. And if anybody would like to help uh, pass out signs, hold signs, anything, phone bank, whatever you want to help with for CEO, you can call our office at 621 3010 and get with our secretary Mary for her to give us your information so we can call you and put you to work. Remember, on the 8th, we're off, so we can spend the whole day helping, guys.
Exactly.
And we're probably going to need some help in schools.
Yes.
Yes.
So please
Definitely.
contact our
Yes.
office and we will find something for you to do to help out the candidates.
And
Again,
plenty
thank
of
you and
signs to
have a,
hold.
yes, and have a wonderful evening. We'll see you guys soon. Bye bye. Go out and vote.